By show of hands, how many of you here own a business? And who here, once you started your business, it turned out to be a little bit harder than you thought it was going to be? Can I see hands on that as well? Here's my question. Does business have to be hard? Can it be easy? Truly, entrepreneurship isn't about hard or easy. It's about whether you are in flow or you're out of flow. When you're in flow, everything is great, life is good, things are easy, but when you're out of flow, life is hard. You know what I'm talking about when I say flow, right? Some of you have experienced that, where things just seem to really work out, they just flow out of you, the work that you do just seems to just come from source. Everything you do works, you're making the money, the people love you, everything's just going good. That's flow. Some of you have experienced that, and some of you still haven't. My name is Trey, and I am the flow coach for conscious entrepreneurs. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to get into your flow and stay there so that you can make more money, have more free time, and experience a life of incredible growth. Because flow attracts resources. See, I was sitting there in the middle of the desert on top of a giant stuffed teddy bear, maybe from Costco. I was at this art festival called Burning Man. And I'm sitting there complaining about my business and how stressed out I am to my friend. And we're sitting there in the dust, and it's hot and dry. And he says to me, man, you got to figure some stuff out. And I knew that I did. So you see, I go to Burning Man every year, and I do that for a few reasons. But the primary one is, and I bring my family with me because of this, it changes the way I see the world. And every time that I leave, I have this new awareness that changes my life. And that was what was about to happen. My friend looks across at me, and he says, man, you got to find a different way to look at your life. And I said, well, I've been working really hard. I've been making all this money. You see, at that time, I was traveling the world as a public speaker, working with celebrity entrepreneurs, making more money than I ever had. But I was tired. You ever been tired? I was exhausted. You know, I felt like this business that I had created, that I owned me. And I wanted a way out. But I couldn't find one. I was working 40 weeks a year traveling on the road, away from my family. I was exhausted. My body was literally sick. I was making myself ill with how hard I was pushing. Had gut-related stress illnesses. I was literally killing myself. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Killing myself. Until this friend shows me this system called wealth dynamics, which is this amazing system for archetyping entrepreneurs based off the I Ching. And for those of you that haven't heard of the I Ching, it's a 5,000-year-old text that the Chinese have used for literally millennia. And it basically lays out that there's 4 paths to flow. Flow. And so once I discovered what my flow path was and started to live my life that way, I committed myself to rearranging my life, my business, everything to focus on being in my flow at all times, things began to change. I started to make money, yeah, but now I do what I love. I get to travel still, but now I buy 4 tickets instead of 1. I bring my wife and my kids with me. I get to help other people, but most importantly, I feel free. I feel like I'm floating, like things are just supporting me, like the universe has got my back. Guys, it is the most amazing feeling in the world to be in flow. You got to try it. You see, when you're in flow, 3 things happen. You end up making more money. You end up doing the things that you love. You prioritize play. It's exciting to be in flow. But most importantly, this is the big one for me, you can't stop growing when you're in flow. Just as the universe is constantly expanding and a tree continues to reach into the sky until it's done, you too should always be growing. So let me tell you about Eric. I'm teaching a masterclass type workshop talking about this very idea, this idea of flow archetypes. And when I'm done, Eric comes up to me. We're in this dimly lit room. I step down off the stage. Everybody's kind of chatting, drinking cacao. If you've never had cacao, it's basically like hot chocolate without the sugar or the milk. Not the most delicious beverage, but it's really grounding, and it's a great way to connect with your hippie friends. And this Eric guy comes up to me, says, I want to learn how I can find out about my flow archetype, because what you're saying really resonates with me. He said, Trey, I used to love my business, but now it's just a grind. He said, I got no time to actually go out and grow the business or even get more clients. I'm spending all my time every day just putting out fires. Who knows what that feels like? He says, it's a grind and I don't love it anymore. So everything you're saying, it sounds good to me. Tell me, how do I find this flow archetype thing? I want to know what to do. Eric and I end up working together. He chooses to commit a year of his life to really focusing on getting into flow. Within just a few months, we took a look at what his flow archetype was, what work he should be doing, what work he shouldn't be doing, who should be on his team so his team can help him stay in flow. And he hired 3 new people. Took that pressure off of him so that he could rearrange his life and focus on only doing the activities that we identified were within his flow archetype. And he told me that he landed his first 6-figure client in over a year because he finally had the space to go do what he loved. The thing he's best at, client acquisition. I'll never forget, last fall, I met up with Eric. We're actually at a winery in the hill countries of Texas, and we're standing there listening to the birds sing about the sun that's setting. We're overlooking the water, and you can feel the coolness start to set in as the evening begins. And we're standing there holding our glasses of wine. Mine was a delicious Sauvignon Blanc. And he says, Trey, I want to tell you something. He goes, every morning, I do a gratitude meditation as part of my morning routine. And when I do that gratitude meditation, I thank God for you. I told you guys, I do what I love now. And what I love to do is help conscious entrepreneurs like Eric find their flow so they can make more money, so they can have more free time and do the things they love and play and have that life of unending growth. Because flow attracts resources. Not everybody gets to have that experience. See, I have this friend, Mike. I love Mike. Mike's a dad like I am. He's got a family, got the kids, got the wife, got the car, the whole setup. Basically, people depend on Mike. And so when Mike told me, he said, Trey, my business is burning me out. I'm grinding. This is too hard. It's too much work. I'm stressed out all the time. I told him about these archetypes. I said, man, if you find your flow archetype, you can start to rearrange your life. He goes, no, I've done the archetypes and the tests. I did the Myers-Briggs and the DISC, and I did the strengths finders, and Trey, that stuff doesn't do anything for me. And I asked him, I said, Mike, have you actually used the stuff you learned from those systems to make your business better? You know what he says to me? Trey, that's not what's going to make my business better. I've got an MBA. I've been to business school. I'm sad to say a few months later, Mike began to burn out. I would say he fully burned out. Began to self-sabotage. I remember meeting up with him. His marriage was on the rocks. Next thing I know, his business imploded. He lost his company. Last I heard from Mike, he's been living on debt for over a year, still trying to figure things out. This is what we try to avoid. We help stressed and stretched entrepreneurs escape the grind so they can find their flow, make more money, experience more joy in their life and play, and always have that growth through flow, because flow attracts resources. So maybe you're ready to have more flow in your life. Maybe you're that entrepreneur that says, you know what? I like this idea of play, of enjoying myself, of actually building a business that's really geared around me. And if that is you, and you do want to attract those resources, then I invite you to start living in your flow. Now, there's 3 steps to living in your flow. Step number 1, you got to know what it is. What is my flow type? There's 4 paths to flow, and one of them is right for you, only one. So we got to figure out which that one is. The second and more important step You've got to live your flow. You see, because to know and not do is to still not know. And for those of you that want to go to the advanced levels of flow, because I know there's a few of you out there, give it to me all, Trey. Step 3 is to get a team. A team around you of people who have a different flow type than you do, so that you can each keep each other in your flow all day long. Flow. It's a beautiful thing. So how do you do it? I'll make it easy for you. I created a quiz that will tell you exactly what your flow type is. So go ahead and pull your phone out. I want you to go to flowquiz.biz. Flowquiz.biz. The 10 minutes that you invest finding out what your flow type is will save you 10 years of continuing to grind out of your flow. Again, that's flowquiz.biz. Find out what your flow type is and start to create a life where you got more money, more free time, and you have unlimited growth. Being in flow. So the question, does business have to be hard? Nah. Not when you're in flow, because flow attracts resources. Thank you.